Hey, what's up guys? Justin here, and in today's video, I'm going to dispel one of the biggest myths about the music industry, about the current state of the music industry, and that's this idea that people aren't buying music anymore. Well, that's completely bogus, and in fact, if you're a small independent artist that's not signed to a major label, your fans are actually more likely to spend money buying your music. And in this video, I'm going to explain why that is. All right, so you've probably heard people say this before, and you may have even said it yourself. Nobody buys music anymore. Well, the purpose of this video is to establish that that's just plain false, first of all. Last year in 2018 alone, over $1 billion was generated from digital downloads. 1.15 billion was generated in physical album sales, and that's not even including used sales. Between the physical and digital sales of new music in 2018, that was over $2 billion was generated. Now, it doesn't include streaming, that doesn't include touring, that doesn't include merch sales, that's simply physical and digital copies of music. Now, I can hear some of you saying, okay, yeah, that's great, but that's on the decline. And that's true. Total revenue from physical sales and digital downloads are both declining. But $2 billion is still a lot of money. And while more and more people are consuming the majority of their music through streaming services, and while that will cause revenues to decline in physical and digital sales, there's always going to be a market for selling music. There's always going to be people that will buy your music, especially if you're a small independent artist. And in this video, I want to explain why that is. So even though the majority of music is being consumed through streaming platforms these days, your fans will still buy your music. The key idea that I would like to express and have you take away from this video is that there's a big difference between the reason why people stream music and the reason why people buy music. So first, let's talk about why the majority of music is consumed through streaming, or in other words, why people don't buy music. Well, first of all, they don't have to. Back in the 80s and the 90s, in the heyday of the music industry, the recording industry, before the internet, if you wanted to listen to a song, if there was one song that you wanted to listen to by an artist, you might not even be a fan of the artist, you might not like any other songs on that artist's album, but if you want to listen to that one song and be able to listen to it on demand anytime you wanted to, you had to go to the record store, you had to spend $15 to buy the full album. And that's just the way it was, and that's why so much money was made by record labels back in the day, because a lot of times people would go spend $15 just to get that one song that they really wanted to listen to. Now, obviously, that's not the case anymore. If someone wants to listen to a song, more often than not, all they have to do is reach into their pocket, pull out their phone, open up an app, Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, YouTube, whatever, type in the name of the song they want to listen to, and it's right there. They already have the song that they want to listen to in their pocket most of the time. So more often than not, people don't need to buy music because they already have it. But there are other motivators that get people to buy music. Sometimes people just want to support an artist that they enjoy, an artist that they're a fan of. But if they're not a big fan of the artist and they only just want to listen to one song by the artist, they're not going to spend money on that song. Or if they feel like their support doesn't matter, they're not going to spend the money. So a person might be a big fan of a major artist like a Katy Perry or Eminem or Ed Sheeran or Justin Bieber or whoever, but if that fan doesn't feel like their support matters, they're not going to spend $10 to download an album from an artist that is a multi-millionaire already. Some people will. Some people will spend money, they will download the album just because they want to support that artist, even if the artist has millions and millions of dollars. But I would argue that a lot of people that do support smaller artists might not be as inclined to support the bigger artists that already have a lot of success because they don't feel like their support really matters. They don't feel like that $10 that they're investing is going to make a difference to that artist. And, I think there may be some validity to that. But let's talk about why people do buy music, because this is what really applies to you. First of all, people will buy music even though it's available to stream if they're a fan of the artist and they want to support them. All right, so if somebody's a fan of your music and they want to support you, they'll buy your music even though they could stream it. And this is especially true for smaller artists, for independent artists, for you do-it-yourself musicians that are really bootstrapping it, that are playing small clubs, you're not going on big tours. When a fan feels like their support really helps, they're going to be a lot more inclined to actually purchase your music because they feel like they're contributing, that they're supporting an artist that they really like. Now, you might be able to relate to this. You've probably bought music to support artists in the past, I would think. Maybe not. That might not be the case. But even if you haven't bought music to support other artists, just know that there are a lot of people out there that will spend money to buy an album they could get for free because they want to support an artist. And that's a big contributor to why there's over $2 billion in music being sold every year, even though most of that music's available to stream on streaming platforms for free. Now, another reason why people would buy music is if the music's not available to stream for free. So for big, huge major label hits, of course they're going to be available for streaming. But when somebody's a fan of a specific artist, a lot of times they want to listen to everything by that artist. So when you make your album available on streaming platforms, but also have a bonus edition that's available for sale that has bonus tracks that aren't available on streaming platforms, that gives your fans another incentive to make a purchase to actually buy the album from you. So they feel like they're supporting you and they get something that they won't be able to get on streaming platforms. Sometimes people just like to collect music. There's a lot of people out there that enjoy collecting music in the same way that people collect baseball cards, people collect coins, stamps. People love collecting stuff, and some people really love collecting music. The biggest market for this is vinyl, which is actually a growing market. Year after year, more and more people are actually spending money buying vinyl albums. This is a subculture that's getting bigger and bigger. People like vinyl for two reasons, really. For two main reasons. One, a lot of people just like the sound of it. The sound quality of a vinyl record is very different from streaming an album. And some people really like that sound quality. But it's also something that they can collect, something physical that they can collect. They can show that they like this artist. They can show off their album collection, their vinyl collection, which in a lot of ways they feel like is a representation of themselves and their artistic taste. So there's a big market for people that collect vinyl in particular. Some people, for the same reason, will collect CDs. That's a much smaller market, and I think one that's kind of going away at the moment. But there are still people that collect CDs, that will buy a CD because it's a physical representation of the music they like, that they can display. And believe it or not, I actually know people that collect digital, even though it's something that they can't really show off as well. I know people that will go buy a digital copy of an album to keep on their computer just because they like to have their own digital copy that they own. So people do collect digital albums. They even collect CDs still. But I think vinyl's the biggest opportunity. If you want to focus on selling physical albums, I think make CDs available as well. But vinyl is definitely a growing market and something that can't be replicated. The experience of buying a vinyl album, listening to a vinyl album, showing off your vinyl collection is something that cannot be replicated through streaming platforms. Another reason why people buy music, giving gifts. Okay, if somebody knows that you're a fan of such and such band or such artist, they may purchase an album or box set from that artist to give to you as a gift. Not because they don't realize that you could listen to them for free on a streaming platform, but because they can't gift streaming as well. But physical copies of music that somebody enjoys, especially in the form of a box set, is a great gift. And that's another reason why people might purchase your music to give as a gift. And then, of course, bundling other incentives along with a sale of a physical or digital copy of an album. Like when somebody buys your album, give them a ticket to a free show. Maybe you have really cool album artwork that people want to get access to. Maybe you give them a fan club membership along with the purchase of an album. You can get really creative with this. The list goes on. There's all kinds of stuff that you can bundle with your music to encourage people to buy it. But the point here is that people do buy music, and there are a lot of reasons why people buy music. Just because the majority of music is being consumed through streaming platforms, just because you're probably listening to most of your music through streaming platforms, I know that I am, that doesn't mean that I don't spend money on music at times. That doesn't mean that there's no reason why people buy music, because there are a lot of people buying music. More than $2 billion worth of music was sold last year alone. That does not include streaming. So you just have to understand that the motivation, the reasons why people listen to music through streaming platforms is completely different from the reasons why people actually purchase music. And there are still a lot of people buying music. So not selling your music is a big mistake. You could be leaving a lot of money on the table if you just fall into the assumption that a lot of artists make, that streaming's the only way to make any money, that people aren't actually purchasing music. The fact of the matter is, you don't make that much money from streaming. You'll make a lot more if you're actually selling music, especially if you're a small artist and you have a loyal fan base that wants to support you. All right, so I hope that makes sense. If you want to learn more about how you can sell your music online and grow your fan base in the process, I do have a course called Music Promotion Machine. You can check it out at musicpromotionmachine.com or click the link in the video description. And hopefully you found this video helpful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comment section below. And if you do have any thoughts on what I've talked about, maybe you disagree, maybe you don't think people are going to buy music in the future, or maybe some of the points that I made have changed your mindset on that. Whatever, if you have any thoughts, comments, leave those in the comment section below. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to the channel and tick the little bell icon to be notified as soon as new videos are released. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.